Green spaces like parks provide a safe haven for animals and humans alike. In fact, green infrastructure provides both physical and mental health benefits. There are plenty of opportunities to expand upon green infrastructure, not only in Minneapolis, but in cities around the world. Green spaces provide a long-term solution to the promotion of health and for many environmental issues, assuming that the space is maintained. Unfortunately, in this day and age, people are struggling with mental and physical health more than ever before. Green infrastructure provides a melding between the natural environment and the urban environment. Green spaces provide areas to release frustrations through physical activity as well as time for relaxation away from the stresses of the urban environment. For example, think of all the activities that one can do when they have the space to do so. A field provides the room for a pickup football game to take place, or people to pass around a frisbee, or even just for walking. Being outdoors is also relaxing, providing a perfect environment for activities such as yoga or simply laying in the sun. As for mental health, green spaces contribute to the life satisfaction and happiness of individuals. In the United States, there is a negative correlation between mental health conditions and life satisfaction. That means that as more people are being diagnosed with mental health conditions, the life satisfaction of the population decreases accordingly. This shows that mental health directly influences the happiness of the population, and unfortunately, the amount of people with mental health conditions is only increasing.
Happiness levels have had a negative correlation ever since the 1950s. This means that the population of the world is becoming less happy over time and has not shown any signs of changing. Throughout the 1800s in the United States, there was a push to move into cities, and the country saw an insane influx of people moving into cities until it peaked in the 1950s. Because of urbanization, the goal of the cities was simply growth. They needed to accommodate the incredible numbers moving into the cities, and for that reason, they often neglected to install green infrastructure within the city boundaries. With more people living in cities than ever before, the population of cities only continues to rise. More and more people are having less access to green space and nature. This could be a factor in the decrease in happiness in the United States because more people live in cities with little to no green space, leading to increases in mental health issues, physical issues, and lower levels of happiness. It has been proven that green space helps curb mental and physical issues, which would then in turn help raise the happiness level in the cities in all of the United States because the majority of our population lives in cities today. Physical activity has been shown to reduce stress and the risk of obesity, cardiovascular disease, hypertension, diabetes, stroke, and certain kinds of cancer, and lead to improvements in mental health and overall health and well-being. Accessible green space can improve community identity and sense of place, improve aesthetics, and provide a place for gathering and social interactions, improve social capital, and has been linked to reduced stress and improvements in mental health and overall health and well-being. Studies show that walking in nature decreases stress hormones by 15%, average pulse by 4%, and lowered blood pressure by 2%. Also, the overall happiness and self-esteem of those that spent more time outdoors were higher than those that didn't. The health benefits mediated by physical activity and green space depends on the availability of public green spaces suitable for active leisure and physical play. It is a known fact that stress levels and mental issues are higher in college students than any other group of people. A place that can be turned into a green space right by the University of Minnesota campus is right behind the TCF Bank Stadium. There are electric steel and grain elevators that were built between 1901 and 1914 that have since gone out of business and been abandoned. 4.7 acres of the property and its group of 32 steel grain silos that were run down were already turned into recreational sports center fields for the University of Minnesota, leaving over 10 more acres of abandoned mills and buildings that can be turned into a large park on the University of Minnesota campus that can help reduce physical and mental issues, as well as increase the happiness of students and people in the surrounding communities immediately. Problems that arise with green space in the installation of green infrastructure are issues anyone could face in nature. Some of the problems with green infrastructure include the increase in exposure to pesticides, allergenic pollen, arthropodic vectors of infectious diseases, soil contaminants from animal feces, and risk of injury from physical activity. The last problem that lots of green spaces face is funding and being able to pay the maintenance that goes into the maintaining of the green space.
Currently, Minneapolis has regulations so that parks are at most 6 blocks away. As they work towards this goal, we recommend an amendment to the regulation to include walkability. Walkability is incredibly important when considering park locations, for walkability means accessibility, and if a park is more accessible, it will be more utilized so that its positive effects on health will be much larger. This regulations provide parks for everyone regardless of income. Also, by installing green spaces, studies show that crime rates will fall. So instead of looking towards higher income neighborhoods where crime rates are often lower, a larger focus could be placed on lower income neighborhoods. With more green spaces, more people will spend time outdoors, deterring people from committing a crime in the first place.
In New York City, an old elevated rail system known as the High Line was destined for demolition, but people in the community came together to transform the High Line into a green and modern public space. Now the High Line attracts thousands of people from all over to enjoy its health benefits. Denver also provides thousands of acres of parks, and like Minneapolis, they have distributed these throughout the city so that they are accessible to the inhabitants. Estimates show that 90% of citizens are within a 6-block walking distance to a park. Accessibility to parks in Denver is very high as they continue their ambitious city park planning. Applying green infrastructure in urban areas not only benefits the health of people, but also the environment. Green infrastructure allows us to transform old, unused areas into places where people can come to relax, admire the scenery, and feel safe. If you want to find out more about who is working towards setting aside land for natural spaces, go to the website for the Trust for Public Land, whose mission is to create parks and protect land for people, ensuring healthy, livable communities for generations to come.